Behind camera today and proud to introduce four very special players to the Ashland Tomcat basketball program and what they've accomplished. And today we're not just going to talk about the 2020 basketball team as you anticipate this will be about. We're going to do a full run through from all these guys growing up to everything. And we're going to start with Cole first off. And Cole, you guys were the Wild Cards before you were the Tomcats, and let's talk about that a little bit opening up here.
Yeah, so obviously I'm 2 years younger than this senior group, and so growing up it was just obviously I was very grateful to be playing on a team as good as the team I was on with these guys, and for them for taking me under their wing. And so like I said, I'll be forever grateful for the relationships that I built and for the kind of the competitive nature that they helped instill in me. So I'm blessed to have these guys as friends and as brothers. And yeah, it was a really good time growing up, and we're still best friends to this day.
I'd like to point out, he basically said we taught him everything he knows. So he can thank us for that.
And he's also never beaten me one-on-one in his life. Just to lay it out early, get it started on a good note.
Throwing out random facts here.
No, the wild card group was special though. That's honestly, I think that's how we all met. If I'm not, we were on the same AYBL team, and Joe and John got that together for us. We weren't very good at first. We just played in the local tournaments, but then over the years we ended up playing in Lexington and Louisville, all kinds of places, and it really kickstarted the whole movement that kind of became what we accomplished later on. So I think that was one of the biggest parts of the journey, for me at least.
I honestly think some of our best games were whenever we went to what was considered state for AAU at KBA. And we played a lot of really tough teams that you don't really see in the area around here. And there's a lot of powerhouse teams that you would see there just about every year. And being able to go against those teams and see those teams in other tournaments and play against those teams, it's really cool to have the same group of guys and play against those teams and beat them at state.
And I'll tell you a really cool story for those of you listening to my town. Ironically, I was in college at ACTC in 2008 and would go to the Y a lot to jog, to play basketball, and Chris Pullum was also there a lot. Chris would be in the weight room lifting, and I would be right there jogging, and in the youth gym would be Cole Villers and Chase and his father John out there shooting around. And none of us, with the exception of the Villers, of course, knew each other. So how ironic that all becomes now looking back in hindsight. And talk about the memories that you had growing up.
I remember one time we were all in the hotel at KBA, and there were a few of us in one room watching a scary movie. It was the Midnight Meat Train. And all the others were freaking out, running out of the room. But there were, I think it was me and Chris May. We stayed and watched, and it was just a movie, but they were all freaking out. That's one that sticks out to me.
Let's make something clear, too. I was like 6 years old at this time. They're all 2 or 3 years older than me, and Justin's trying to take my innocence at such a young age with these scary movies. And so I had to deal with that. But, no, yeah, I remember that, so that was a good time. Do you have any memories?
No, I forgot.
No memories.
You forgot? Any good memories?
Yeah, really any hotel that had a pool, it was kind of like always a time to get together and go to the pool and stuff. But there were some times we spent times together watching like All-Star Weekend or like NBA All-Star Weekend together. But other than that, it was always something different at every hotel, and it was never normal with the group of guys we had. It was never normal. There was crazy stuff that happened. But you guys have anything else to add?
Speaking of memories, we'll deviate from the subject a bit. I know, Ethan, you had quite a good one this week or last week. I know you had. Of course, you guys are a ring-worthy team, but let's see that hand. Yeah, let's get a big hand. Yeah, big congratulations on that. And you guys had some great competitive games growing up, and Now this is kind of setting the stage. You already can see just the chemistry you guys had, the great bond. I mean, a great team as well growing up. I mean, but for that age, you guys were quite accomplished. And let's go through some of the accomplishments you guys had when you were playing for the Wild Cards.
Yeah, so obviously we would, my second grade year, but their fourth through sixth, we'd go through small tournaments. But sixth grade, we went to KBA for a state tournament, and I think it was the elite. It was either the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 game. We were down by 2 with 5 seconds left. I can't remember. Someone missed a shot. I don't remember who it was. Not gonna throw anyone under the bus. Maybe Chris May, and and I remember Reese Stevenson. He ended up transferring to Spring Valley, but he got the offensive rebound and thought the game was over, I think, and he just tossed it behind his head, and it went in, and the game wasn't over yet. So we ended up going to overtime and winning that game in overtime, made it to the Final Four of state that year, and then we ended up losing. I can't remember what team we lost to, but we lost in the Final Four.
It was back-to-back games. I mean, we didn't have any time to rest after that game. And that game felt like it took forever.
Yeah, I remember Final Four of that game.
Yeah, it was Hacker, I think, is who it was.
Yeah.
That beat us.
That sounds made up, but then when you look at Cole's game-winning shot senior year, you'd believe really anything would happen. He seemed to make those type of shots more than he did regular shots.
Yeah.
Weird player.
I mean, I was going to say we went to the Final Four that year. The next year in 7th grade, Cole wasn't playing with us, but we played for Jason Schrader, and we went to the Elite 8 that year. And then the following year, we actually played another full circle moment. It was his uncle was our head coach at Ashland Tomcats. Oh, your cousin. Yeah, your cousin was our head coach. And we ended up going to the Final Four that year, too. So we had a couple of years there where we made some good runs at state. So that was really fun to do.
Okay, so now we'll focus a little bit because I know by the upper years, I know, Cole, by then you weren't able to play up anymore. And with Justin, Ethan, and Nolan, you guys were starting your high school years. You're coming off a program that had struggled. They'd had some players transfer out. They had a team that had 5 wins in 2015 that was still kind of looking to rebuild and reshape the program, and you guys come in as freshmen. What was that like coming in, and what challenges did you face at first?
Yeah, it was definitely an atypical situation to come into. Starting high school anyways is weird and an adjustment period, but the program had a brand new head coach coming off of a rebound year, but we had a little bit of a shakeup with the team because that 2016 team relied on a lot of the senior leadership, like with his brother and his brother also. Those guys were crucial to that. So we kind of had to adjust to a new coach, adjust to a new school, and build a team with guys that hadn't had a lot of varsity experience that year. So that was a challenge, but it also gave some opportunities for us to get some varsity minutes and to be involved with that. Because, when you have a really good team, sometimes as a freshman you just play freshman ball, you play JV ball, but we all kind of got more exposure to that world early on, which I think paid off. And we also had an awesome freshman team with Jason Schrader coaching. I remember we won. Do you guys remember what we won at Ashland versus Russell? We beat them in some tournament.
I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, we played that game, and that was – I remember that game specifically. Yeah, the freshman AIT. We played that year, and that felt like old time. That felt like KBA basically. So we were all still playing together and getting our minutes in. But it was a great start to high school, honestly, as weird as it was.
As shaky as the varsity season was, we had quite the opposite result of our season. So Nolan was saying how we were introduced to the physicality when we started playing against varsity and running open gyms and stuff. But Blake Hester, who is now a D1 football player, had played with us all these years, and he was the definition of physicality. Every practice was more intense than games against other teams. Everything was physical involved.
Yeah, no. I've got a story about open gyms, but going off that, I remember one time at the Y, I was playing 2-on-2 basketball with 2 of his cousins and Blake Hester, and it was 2-0, and I did a move and I got past Blake, and instead of letting me get a layup at the YMCA, I got choke slammed from behind, and I actually left the Y early that day because I was not going to do it. But Blake's made us a lot better, in all honesty. Getting guarded by him every day. I mean, he's, like you said, he's a D1 running back. He's fast, he's strong, he's athletic, and he's the most competitive guy I've ever met in my life. So he helped us with our competitive nature and with basketball too, because you weren't getting past him without earning it. But talking about getting to high school and figuring out physicality, we were talking about our open gyms. Between 8th grade and freshman year, we would go and we'd play open gym with all the varsity guys, and they would kind of put us all on one team to see what we were made of. And one day, Coach Ryan Bonner decided to get out there and play with us. And you had me and Blake Hester, who combined, we were maybe as heavy as Coach Bonner was. So we were trying to double team him in the post and getting thrown into the wall and all kinds of stuff. But, we kind of proved our willingness to be physical before we had the ability to be physical with our strength. And I think that we kind of set the tone early as a group of what kind of team we were, both skill, and we weren't going to back down from anybody. We were going to be a rough bunch.
I think we kind of used a lot of stuff we did freshman year, kind of like double teaming and kind of being undersized throughout our whole high school basketball career. Because I mean, we had even throughout wild cards. I mean, we spent a lot of time just trying to figure out how to take advantage of being smaller and quicker than everybody else. And we spent a lot of times playing against people who were a lot bigger than us and taller than us. And we used a lot of it to our advantage on the offensive end, but defensive end, I mean, we had to throw so many different schemes at people, just trying to figure out different ways to stop them inside. And freshman year, I mean, that kind of being thrown to the wolves in an open gym, I mean, that was nothing we hadn't seen before, but it was definitely a different level of physicality.
No, going back to that though, obviously a big part of our offense our senior year was that run and gun 3 offense. But we were doing that when we were in 5th grade with Joe Bradley was making us run a diamond press, and we would get the ball and shoot pull-up threes when we were 12 years old because we were too small to do anything else. We couldn't feed the post because we had no post. We had 5 guards out there, and we did that all the way through high school, and eventually it worked. So we did it before the Warriors did it, and we did it before it was cool. So we established that offense.
So you guys come in, and you have a couple up and down years. Your first year I know was tough because the 2016 team did not make the regional tournament for the first time, I think, in 25 years. And then you have a pretty nice season in 17, especially late. 18, you go 24-6 and get to the regional final. And then 2019 comes. It had been 17 years since Ashland had won the regional title. The last time they won, I was in 8th grade. Ashland had Arliss Beach, Mark Sergowski, Jeremy Howell, that bunch that played. And talk about coming into that year, just the challenge, because the 19 team did not have a radar on them like some of the prior teams. I mean, only probably the 93 Tomcat team would be the other one that was not expected to win and pulled it off. So talk about what you guys went through that year.
Yeah, well, touching back on the 17-18 season, that was my brother Chase. It was his senior year whenever we went 24-6 and lost in the finals. But that was kind of the first year I joined them again because that was my 8th grade year. In 7th grade, I wasn't able to play freshman JV or varsity. So my 8th grade year, I was able to we were able to get everyone back together and play. And it was cool being able to play with Chase. I didn't think I was going to get that opportunity. But, yeah, and then that kind of losing in the finals that year, I guess, left that bad taste in our mouth that everyone talks about. And we didn't really want to feel that again. So it just leading into that year, I'll let Huddy start us off with the first region.
No, I mean, again, we were just kind of thrown into a weird circumstance like our freshman year, brand new head coach. And then also we were going through the transition, or us three at least, from underclassmen to upperclassmen, which is kind of that weird period where you have to step into that leadership role and you haven't been asked to do that yet. So, being juniors on that team and having to have people under our wing instead of being in that learning period definitely took a minute.
You talk about Mark Stragowski. He was another great addition that Coach Mays had brought in for that 19 year. He brought him in as a coach and kind of mentored a lot of the guys inside on interior defense, and I think that played a huge role for us, later on in the year. But definitely having somebody from that team who was, essentially the last team to win a region really played a pretty big role. And just having him around and having the other coaching staff around to help us with that interior defense was huge.
It really just felt like a new start going into that year with a new coach, new seniors, new leaders. Like he said, we had to be the leaders. I remember midway through that season, we were playing a game at Rose Hill and playing one of our worst games that year. Coach Mays took us into the locker room and really got in our face and challenged us and tested who we are, what we're made of. And I remember later that night, we were all texting in the group chat, and it was actually Cole. A lot of us were being negative, but Cole was like, this is on us. We can't play like that. After Coach Mays did get through challenging us that game, I think he kind of took a step back and thought about how we aren't the grown men that he's used to coaching. And he told us that. He said, I got to realize you all are 13 and 14 years old and coach accordingly. So he adjusted big time too, which ultimately led to what it led to. What, you got something to say, Cole?
No, I was saying it was like a meme. Guys, if we want to win, it's on us.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. But no, he was even the leader at that time. What were you, a freshman that year? Sophomore? Yeah. Or
I was a freshman.
Eighth grade?
No, your junior, I was a freshman.
Yeah, he was.
With Mays, you're right. Yeah,
but that goes to show his leadership and how much he really cared. He was what kept us together and ultimately turned it around in the end, and we ended up winning it all thanks to him. Not all, just region.
I'm not going to take as much credit as he's giving me. It was obviously, it helped me coming back that year, but we had a really good team and a really good coach that it just took a little bit to figure it out. And about halfway through the year, we started to figure it out. And, if we look at going into the region tournament, we lost district championship that year. I went 1 for 11. I missed a game winner, so I try to block that one out of my memory. But we won the Lewis County game. They missed a tip-in at the buzzer that they could have very easily made. And then going into that second round game, we played Elliott County, who had Colin, Corbin Spencer, Tanner Dickerson. They were, far and away the best team in the region they were supposed to be. That's why I'm not taking credit, because that game I was horrible. I got benched the second half, and these guys stepped up and ended up winning us that game.
Yeah, we were down 17. Corbin had 24 on me at halftime. So then we had to switch this guy on him, and he held him to 5 more all game maybe. So yeah, shout out to the teammates.
It's the one good defensive game of my career. But no, that was definitely, honestly, I think that was the turning point that kind of led into the 33-0 season, because that's where we realized that we do have the pieces to be something special at that level. And we had the pieces that year, like you said. That was an up-and-down year, wins and losses, but you could tell the entire time we had the guys, we had the coaching to be a great team. It was just we couldn't figure it out at the beginning. We had Devontae Robinson on that team, we had Ryan Bryant, we had Cade Brandt, we had Hunter Mays, we had all kinds of guys that were really good players, and we had Coach Mays, who obviously has the track record to prove that he can coach. It took us a minute to kind of figure out how to use our pieces. Like I said, we won that Elliott County game, and that gave us momentum that I think even pushed us into the following year.
Yeah, I don't want to skip past just going into the 33-0 year, the Boyd County Region Championship, because losing to them the year prior, then losing to them that district championship, being able to kind of get some, I don't like saying revenge, but just kind of get it back at the region tournament. I think that was a very significant game as well. We had taken the momentum from the second half of the Elliott game in the win. And I remember we started off, and I think Selly hit a 3. I hit 2 threes, and then Selly hit another 3. And we were up 12-4. And they called a timeout. And I personally remember just taking a deep breath, we're going to win this game. And prior to the game, I didn't have that same confidence. I was kind of worried because we lost district. Going into that game, playing as well as we did, then leading us into the Owensboro game at Rupp, and kind of down the whole game, whole first half. Had a really good third quarter and fourth quarter, I remember Justin, I think it was you or Hunter Mays, had a 3 that hit every part of the rim, rolled around, and then finally dropped. And I just remember the sigh of relief, oh my gosh, we can win this game too. And then winning that first round game after I think we weren't even 500 going into the state tournament.
I think we were like 17 and 16 or something.
At the end of the year, yeah.
Going into a tournament.
Yeah, that was just kind of an unexpected win for everybody, even maybe ourselves a little bit. And then taking that momentum into the 33-0 year, I just think God placed all these roadblocks in our way, and at the same time gave us a way around them and a way over them. So just, leading to the 33-0 year was a lot of momentum.
Now let's go into the off season for that year. And I know if I'm correct, Cole, you had a game at Lexington Catholic where you and Ethan both scored 40 over the summer. And you guys start to get the chemistry going. Like, what's the consensus kind of heading into the season? Like, from my perspective, I came in and I thought, oh my gosh, and this team is so small. They're going to be good, but they're going to be small, and it's kind of a live and die by the three mentality. But what was your guys' thoughts after all the off-season training?
I mean, we're a group of guys that we never had the natural talent to be able to not work in the off-season. Every off-season we were trying to get better. We were in the weight room. We were shooting. And we did live and die by the three, but as I pointed out earlier, we've been doing that since we were 12 years old. We were always undersized. We were always finding ways to play like that. So, going into that summer, I think that was also a turning point of we realized that us three, like we're the seniors on the team now. There's no one above us besides the coaches to look up to. We have to take control or it's not going to happen. That's the only way to do it. So that tournament specifically I think was really good because we were all three there. He was there. We had two other players, I think. We had 6 guys at that.
Sally was on a cruise, and
Yeah.
Colin had hurt his ankle.
Colin wasn't there.
Colin that summer.
Yeah.
So, that summer leading into that undefeated season, Colin had moved in, and I remember one of the first kind of like events we did as a team. We'd have practices and stuff, but we went to Wofford College on a team camp, and still to this day, I think it was probably the most fun I've ever had. Like for a week span of 5 days, however long we were there. And we also played really well. I remember we were sitting in like the lounge area playing Crazy 8. We were playing Crazy 8 on our phone. Yes. And this team came in and they were like clowning on us. Like, there's no way.
They were laughing.
And we played them and we killed them. I mean, we destroyed them.
We'd walk around that campus with a speaker, listen to some Jimmy Rogers or something.
It was yeah.
People probably thought we were trash. And
Yeah.
then we'd come in and we'd beat these teams that, they didn't expect much from us at all.
Yeah, and that's what being there and kind of playing against outside opponents, teams that we had never seen before, and like they were good teams as well, and being able to hold our own. I think we might have gone like 5-1, or I think we lost one game. And that game we lost on like a last-second shot. So being able to hold our own and win a lot of those games, I think, was the start of a lot of our confidence level that year as well. Because we realized, like, if we can beat these teams, we can beat just about anyone in Kentucky if we're playing well. And then we had started also J.R. Sasser strength training at CrossFit. And that guy, like he said, we would sometimes get bullied whenever we were younger and we weren't strong enough. And we had the will kind of to fight, but we didn't have the size or the ability. After going to CrossFit, even just for a few months during that summer, we had built up strength and then more confidence in our athletic ability. So we were able to hold our own against these bigger teams, even being undersized. And while our conditioning was also, that was a major thing where we were 5 guards at a time. We had to be in pretty good shape because we didn't play a deep roster, maybe only 8 players that year. And so being able to go 32 minutes a night with the style we played, having that conditioning in the third and fourth quarter and even overtime some games, while other teams were kind of gasping for air, we were ready to go and just getting started.
Speaking on that, I don't think you can overstate how much working out at CrossFit with J.R. Sasser impacted that team. Because if you watch games from even our junior year to our senior year, just a totally different world physically. We'd get to fourth quarters, and I felt faster in the fourth quarter than I did in the first quarter because we were getting warmed up. That's what we were used to. So that was a huge part. Just getting, because we always had the skill. Growing up, we always had the skill. So once we combined, college level skill, college level athleticism, we became a much better team just from that alone.
Which I think is a testament to how good of a coach Coach Mays is. For one, he thinks of the whole picture. He changed the whole culture, got us working out, and had us actually bonding as a team. He really did change the culture and I think brought winning back to Ashland, you could say.
That whole staff.
And I know another thing with Jer is maybe that whole year, I think Nolan was the only one who could dunk on our team. So I think Jer helped his athleticism. He was always athletic. Some of us finally caught up to him a little bit, but not much. So he was definitely the most athletic player on that 33-0 team.
I had a lot of I really owe a lot to Jared too. I mean, just like these other guys do. But going into that senior year, I was coming off of an ankle break, and I couldn't really, I couldn't run. I couldn't do anything, and kind of cutting everything short. And Coach Mays, being the great coach he was, I mean, he really took advantage of that because I was always, a smaller weight in the weight room. I was never really strong enough to really compete with some of those guys inside. And he really took advantage of that and got me on a weight gainer program. I owe everything to Gerald Tasser by getting my athletic ability back up and that ankle and everything. And just like these other guys, I really can't talk enough about how much we owe Gerald Sasser a lot of stuff because being able to play long games and our run and gun, I mean, a lot of that stuff just has to do with Gerald Sasser and being able to keep up, late in the game.
If you look at a senior poster with us three and Luke Mays on it, you'll see that weight gain program paid off. Flexing his newly built muscles in that. They look good, but he made sure to flex them.
So, yeah, starting that 2020 season, we played Lewis first game of the year, which was kind of a foreshadow of what was to come at the region championship, but I'll focus on the first game. Huddy came out just blazing hot. I think he might have 34, 30, somewhere in the 30s. So he was, I think, the leading scorer in the state on the number one team in the state for a little bit. 2 games, but averaging 30, so that's what it was. But no, that Lewis County game, it was good to finally play against someone else whenever it really counted because, as you know, preseason can kind of be a drag just going against each other. And with that, as competitive and as close as we are, we almost started to not hate each other, but get pretty tired of each other just going against each other. Yeah, me and Justin would get into it a lot. We'd fight quite often. They were always good fights, and usually we'd hug after. Sometimes not. But no, just going into that first game, playing against someone else, winning, and then that led us, obviously, win one into a lot of other wins, a lot of close games. I remember GRC, I think that was pretty early in the year. We'd won a close one in overtime there. They had hit it. Yeah, Selly, he was sick. Nolan, yeah, he played. I think he got player of the game that game. I remember that. He played really well in that start because obviously we didn't have Selly, who was one of our main players, so Nolan stepped up. We won in overtime there. That kind of led us into the AIT, and I'll let Huddy talk about the AIT a little bit.
No, I mean, the AIT was the first time not the first time we played GRC, but that was one of the first times we played some really good out-of-the-area competition and got to prove ourselves. Yeah, we played Warren Central, who, like you said, they were a Final Four team, I believe, the year before. Yeah, so, I mean, they had guys that could obviously play. So that was a challenge. And then we played Louisville Butler, who, like you said, had one of the best centers that we played, probably one of the best big men we played in our entire career. Yeah, so coming out of that Warren Central game, we got a win there. And then we played against Louisville Butler, who had one of the best big men we ever faced that year. And we were down 20-9 to start that game off, and we thought that might have been the one. But we switched to an offense. Just a testament to the visionary that Coach Mays is. He switched to an offense that we don't normally run, and we honestly didn't practice it that much. And we spread them out, and we ended up Justin Bradley with 19 points that game, tearing up the nets. But we came off that, and we ended up playing, was it Boyd County in the championship, right?
No, that was a championship.
That was a championship?
Lawrence, then
Lawrence, okay. Well, we won that championship, and that gave us a lot of confidence because the AIT is sort of like the midpoint of the season, and that's where you got to start gearing up for your end of the season run. Even though it's only halfway through, you kind of have to dial things in and stop experimenting, figure out what you're good at. So that kind of showed us that we're an adaptable team, and if we play the right way and we do the things that we're supposed to do, we can really beat anyone in the state.
I want to talk on Coach Mays there for a second because I don't know if we've given him enough credit. I know we have, but just today, it was that Butler game. I started off very bad. I had airballed like 2 or 3 shots. I was playing kind of lazy, and he subbed me out. What's that about?
Never lazy. You missed shots.
No, but I like jogged back on a possession, and then he pulled me. and he got in my face, and he wasn't having it. And I was over there sitting next to Selly, kind of complaining a little bit, and Mays heard me, and he put me back in, and I started playing better. But that's where Mays just knew how to get the best out of us. He knew I needed to be checked. But, yeah, just after winning that, it kind of sent us into the second half of the year. And I remember we played Trinity the second half of the year, who we had lost to in the Elite Eight that previous year. And they had David Johnson, who played for the Clippers for a while. He was at Louisville. We didn't stand a chance that game. I still think they took it easy on us in that Elite Eight game. Yeah, we didn't stand a chance. But then we played at Transy, where Huddy ended up playing college at. And I remember it was not a pretty game. So we had played Trinity, obviously the year prior, lost to them in the Elite Eight, then played them at Transy. And we led early. We were down pretty much the whole game, though. Yeah, going into the fourth quarter, they threw an entry pass that I stole. And I wasn't ever the fastest or most athletic, but I got down the court pretty quick and finished a layup that I think either tied it, put us up by 1 or 2. And then going into the fourth, we kind of held a short lead. And we never expanded it much, but yeah, that Trinity game was a big kind of momentum shifter for us as well, because kind of getting revenge on them as well, like we did kind of Boyd County. It's just whenever you get your chance to kind of get back at a team, it always feels good. So yeah, the 2020 season, we had a lot of milestones. Obviously, the undefeated season that everyone knows about, and then we played at the Boyd County Roundball Classic, and we got paired up against Capital, who's from West Virginia, and we ended up winning that game. I think it was pretty close. Maybe we won by like 12-15. I can't remember. We played a pretty good game, and that was actually our 2,000th win, and we were the first school in the state to get to 2,000 wins, and I think only a few teams in the country had ever reached that milestone. So that was a really cool experience to be a part of, like, with obviously my best friends. And then there's so much history that runs through Ashland's sports programs. To be a part of that significant of a part of history was just a very cool opportunity.
If I remember correctly, I read in the paper a couple days later about how there was a former player. I think he was on one of the state championship teams for Ashland, but he said he was in the stands for that, and it was just such a special moment even for him, knowing that he's been a part of that and he contributed to that. So I'm glad we could do it for not only us, but everyone that came before us.
Yeah, it was kind of cool also, piggybacking off that, where my brothers played, both of them played at Ashland. Just kind of being a part of history that everyone, like he said, who played before us is a part of. It's not only our wins that counted toward that record. It's that national championship 1928 team. Their wins count a part of that. So it's just cool having everyone tied together in a similar or a common goal was another cool aspect of it. Might have been in February that year. I can't really remember what exact game it was, but we had went to Rowan County, and we hadn't played a game in 2 weeks. I know it was after the AIT. There was some games that got canceled because of snow, some because of illness, and Justin had rolled his ankle pretty bad that year. Yeah, he had rolled it with Fairview the first time and then in practice, or vice versa?
Fairview was the second time.
So he rolled it in practice, and then he rolled it at Fairview, so he had to miss a few games, and he was trying to play on it, but I remember he was walking up the stairs at Rowan County and rolled it before the game started, and he was like, "I'm going to play. I'm good, I swear." It's like, dude, you're not good. So I think Mays made the decision to not play him, which was smart. It was a close game the whole time, and then we had Nolan, who obviously had to step in for Justin's starting role. I can't remember exactly how many blocks it was, but it was a handful of blocks against a good county team. They had Mason Moore. Chase Alderman was on that team. They had a few really good players. And Nolan stepped up whenever we needed him, just like he did the GRC game a few weeks prior. And that's what having such a good team where it's like if one of us goes down, it's like we don't freak out. We know the next person can step up. And in that game, it was Nolan. And it might have been 5 or 6 blocks.
I got robbed of like 2 or 3.
Yeah, he got a few foul calls. That
got a goaltending call.
Yeah, well, I think it was a goaltending because the ball was so high up on the backboard. They thought there was no humanly possible way. There was no way impossible that someone could get it.
I talked to that ref. That out of bounds. We took the ball out of bounds, and I turned and looked at that ref, and I said, how do you there's no way that was goaltending. And he said, honestly, I didn't even see the ball. I wouldn't even, I didn't think anybody was going to get to it. And I was so furious at that response because, that was definitely not. I don't know how many times I went back to my town and watched, replay after replay, seeing if that ball was still going up or not. But I'll never forget that. But, yeah, I definitely got robbed of 3 blocks that game.
He probably would have ended with a triple-double, points, rebounds, and blocks. But, no, that was definitely, obviously, a big game for us as a team playing against what everyone considered the second-best team in the region at that time, I think. Yeah. And being able to win that game without one of our starters and just kind of push through, and then Nolan stepping up was a big momentum push going into the later part of that year. That was a fun game.
So I'll say here coming up next, it's 10:30 a.m. in the morning. It's tax season. I'm working. I get a call from Chris Pullum, and he says, Tyler, I know you've been training a little bit with Dickie Martin lately. He's like, Mike Miller is not going to be able to make the game tonight at West Carter. I know we haven't really worked much before, but I think it's something we could do as we're covering it. So something happened that night. Something crazy. You guys were down 41-28 in the second half, and of course they had the Lettingham kid who was, Webb was great also, and yeah, we'll start from there, and because it looked like they were unraveling you guys at first.
So it seems like West Carter will always give us a game, no matter how good we seem to be or how not great they seem to be. So they were good that year, but we were struggling. We couldn't hit a shot. I think Colin was carrying us the first half, right? And nobody else was doing anything. And then the second half came, and Cole started carrying us, hitting 7 or 8 shots in the fourth alone.
Threes tonight.
No, they haven't. Bradley drives.
They keep. You see what West is doing, and Ashland needs to start. Finally.
Villers for 3 from the corner. Ashland definitely needed that. It's now a 9-point game. Down with Dominic Dean, who has controlled the glass for West Carter inside. Rebound, Bradley. Gillum to Villers. Villers, 3, wing. Got it. Cole Villers.
Back-to-back 3 for Villers.
Keep the possession alive. Bradley, wing, 3. No good. Rebound, Villers. Villers powers up, fouled, will shoot 2. 1:59 to go in the third. Ashland starting to build a little momentum.
No secret where
they're cutting, no good. Rebound, Villers. Villers has been a part of every big play for Ashland here in the third.
This is a big lead.
There we go. A little pressure, denying the ball on the wing by Porter. Good ball pressure from Villers, forces that turnover. Hudson fouled, no call. Sellers in transition to Villers. Villers tries to go to work on Lettingham. Villers up and in with a right hand. Ashland down 8 with 5:30 to go. They need some offense. Skip past to Villers in the corner. Villers, 3. Got it. Cole Villers.
And that's last 13 straight. 13 points now in a row for Ashland. He's had all 13.
Feed back out to 10. Villers to Porter. Ashland needs points and needs them quick. Villers, 3. Got it.
Villers has single-handedly, all of Ashland's last 16 points, he has single-handedly kept them in this game.
So we were struggling bad that night. We were down, and none of us could hit a thing. And Cole went on this crazy run of putting us on his back. We had 28, and he scored the next 16 points for us to get us to 44. And then we know how the end of that goes with Sports Center number one play. That's Cole Villers.
Yeah, so obviously I had a good run. First half I didn't play great, and then I had a good third and start of the fourth quarter. But I remember we had cut the lead. They were up by like 10. We had cut it to maybe 2 or 3, and then they went on like a 3-0 run. They hit a 3 or maybe 5-0 run, got it back to 7, and then we turned it over, and they went down and got an and one. Justin fouled the kid. I didn't think it was a foul. Justin fouled the kid, and he fouled out. So we lost him. was like 3 or 4 minutes left, and we already gave them kind of the best we had for a few minutes stretch. Then they countered it and went up by 10 again. I remember we called a timeout, and my cousin, Brandon Barnes, was on the bench. I don't even know if he knows this, but I kind of looked over at him, and I was thinking, like, it's over. Like, the undefeated season, like, it was all kind of for nothing. We're going to lose, like, the last regular season game. I think we played Rose Hill the next day, but one of the last regular season games. And I was like, this can't be how it ends. So then we kind of claw back slowly. Colin comes back in. I think he hits a floater. Then Huddy hits a 3. Then I think Selly might have hit a 3. And I just remember, like, the chaos in that last 3 minutes, like, pressing the whole time, like, just ball going everywhere. Yeah. And it got to the point where I think Huddy got fouled on a 3 and made 2 or 3, and it might have tied it. It tied it. He got fouled on a 3, made 2 free throws out of 3, tied it. They call a timeout, and they have the ball with, like, 15 seconds left. And Braden Lettingham makes a really good move, gets close to the basket, probably like a 5-foot shot, rolls in and out. And as he shoots, I'm like, no way. This is how it ends, like on a buzzer beater.
I ran to contest him.
Yes.
And it was like right as soon as I saw that ball release out of his hands, I was nowhere close. I mean, I was out of position to be able to contest him.
Yeah, because
I was running as hard as I could, and I saw the ball release from his hands, and I just felt my heart sink because it was at the free throw line.
Yeah, it was an open shot.
It was a great look, and I was like, man, this is it. You know, like that's the last play.
Yeah. But, one of us had gotten beat off the dribble, and he helped up, being the great help defender he is. Helped up, did his job, and contested it. And honestly, without that contest, like that shot, a good chance it goes in. Yeah. So shout out to Nolan for getting a good contest on the jumper. And I remember he missed it. This could have been a stupid play. I got the rebound and called a timeout. I had no clue if we had any timeouts. And we could have been out of timeouts, technical. They hit a free throw and they win. Could have gone very different. But Mays usually would save a few timeouts. He wouldn't give us any breaks during the game. He'd be like, you guys are good. He'd only call a timeout if one of us did something wrong, and he was going to let us know. But so I figured maybe we would. So then we get to the timeout, and he calls a play called sides go. And he was putting Nolan in a bad spot because he was throwing it like a football pass right under the rim, kind of. And it's
he called that play, and that we've run that play so many times in practice, and he has a ton of great plays. I mean, a ton of great plays, and that was one of those plays where it's like, man, I really hope. I went to that timeout knowing that was the play that was coming, and having that kind of pressure. I'd never really got the ball a whole lot in games, and I was okay with that. I was a role player, but having that play call and knowing it was coming and running up and having Lettingham, I've watched it because I just shared the post last week, but having Lettingham come up and kind of help off, I was so happy that Huddy decided to throw that ball to Cole.
Well, actually, the funniest part about it is we went in there and Coach Mays is going over the play, he's drawing it up, and I know I'm the inbounder, so I'm paying attention to where I need it to be, how I need to throw it, and we break the huddle, and I turn around and walk 2 steps, and Cole comes over and says, just throw it to me. And I was like, all right, cool, we'll do that. And, the rest is history.
Ashland all along.
Yes.
West Carter is not a bad team, and they're showing it right now.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And I mean they have good speed. Their length creates problems, and of course, I mean they've done a very good job. I mean they're mentally ready.
Bradley, 3. Yes! Justin Bradley for 3 cuts the lead to 2. Minute to play in this one. Ashland down 5. Hudson for 3. Got it!
On it.
Ethan Hudson.
It's his first 3-pointer of the night.
This is both rebound Hudson. Here we go. 34 seconds to go. Porter initiates the offense. Down 2.
Now screen by Phillips.
Porter. Corner. Hudson. 3. Foul.
Oh, almost got the 4-point play.
The senior at the line. First one up and in. At times this year, Ethan Hudson has put this team on his back and willed them to victory. And here's his chance as he ties this game up. Gets one more to put Ashland ahead if he hits it. If not, we'll be tied up with 25 seconds to go here in the 4th. Hudson's third one up. No good. We're back. Ashland Tomcats basketball. Hop Brown Court at West Carter High School. Tied up. 6.5 seconds to go. West ball out of bounds underneath. West in a box set on the weak side. I would imagine they're going to send a cutter into the paint, and West is
sure
likely
enough,
going to go to the rim. Shot Lettingham up, no good. Rebound goes. Timeout, Ashland. 2.1 seconds is exactly what Duke had on the clock against Kentucky in the regional finals when Christian Leitner hit a turnaround jumper to put Duke through.
Oh,
so
my.
it can be done. We know that.
I'm going to guess. I'm going to go back to what Kentucky did in a half-court set, or in a set. They played UAB December of 2007.
Yeah.
It's 38-28, and Kentucky just had 3 or 4 seconds. They pitched it out to half court to Patrick Patterson. He pitched it back to Michael Porter, who hit a 3 before halftime. So I think I think a play like that, a handoff, somebody gets it, but even with 2.1 seconds, I know that would probably be a big stretch there. Someone's probably going to just have a catch and shoot.
Yeah.
And no question, they're going to put a long guy. Yep, sure enough, already got him there on the inbound. 0.1 seconds. I mean, the chances are limited, but I admire the grit to try to get this win.
Ethan Hudson inbounds the ball. It's going to be Cole Villers. Cole Villers, 3.
I know Cole admitted that he said, looking at his cousin, this is it. It's over. We're gonna lose. I think we all shared that feeling. We all thought we were gonna lose that game. So then I fouled out, and no, that's not. Well, that sealed it. I was like, yep, this is for sure over. But on the actual play, I thought they were gonna call a charge on Cole. Just the way that game was going, that seemed like how it would have happened. So I was looking at the ref after he shot it, just waiting on a call, and I hear the place erupt. So I look, and everybody's just going crazy. So I'm in disbelief, no, I just saw Cole sprinting around the court with everybody else chasing him.
It's like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I still don't believe it went in, honestly.
Yeah, because I had 4 fouls as well. And if they would have called a charge, then I would have fouled out, Justin would have fouled out, and we would have gone to overtime, and the momentum would have shifted to them. But yeah, that whole sequence, obviously, and that whole year leading up to that was a lot of blessings, and that shot was definitely one of them. So I know they feel the same as I do. We give God a lot of the credit. We've given Jair credit, we've given each other, we've given Mays, but we need to take a second and thank God for the health that we had that year, for the community, for the coaches, for the support staff. And it's wonderful to be in a presence where we all love each other like brothers, and we try to love each other like Christ would love us. And it made the year a lot more meaningful because of the bonds and the relationships that we had built through our Bible studies or just practice or open gyms. But yeah, everything kind of led to that point, and that was kind of the tipping point. And then leading into district and region, we just kind of blew everyone out. I remember district was close, but that region, we played, was it Russell the first game or Rowan? We played Russell, Rowan. We played Russell.
We averaged beating people by 30 or 40.
Yeah, we won it.
You beat Russell 61-41. You beat Rowan 67-39, and Lewis I remember it was 24-2. I know that.
Yeah. So leading into that, we had a close game district. Like I said, against Boyd, they always gave us pretty close games. And then once we won that, it was it's time. We peaked going into the region tournament. A lot of teams usually peak early around Christmas, and I was worried after we had beaten Rowan and we kind of started to go downhill, and even the West Carter game, man, we might have peaked too early. But we peaked at the perfect time, and leading into the region, we won the first game by 20, second game by 20 or 30, and then we were up in the first quarter of the region championship by 22 at the end of it. And I don't know if that's ever been done before, but we just had a very good run at the end of the year, and we were feeling great going into state, playing the best ball we'd been playing all year. So we all know what happened after the region championship. which was disappointing.
Looking at the West Carter game, I'll tell you something. Actually, something I don't think a lot of people know on the final couple minutes of that. So Chris Pullum and I are calling it, and it was like we're waiting for that. Of course, at the end, we get the timeout. And I'm thinking, the only thing, and I brought up Kentucky UAB 2007 when they lobbed it to Patrick Patterson at half court. He lobs it back, the three at the buzzer. And I thought that was going to be the case. And then Chris Pullum brings up Christian Leitner of Duke, and the comment section just blows up. It was so funny. Like why'd you have to bring that up? And when the ball was going up, it was like time stopped. Like, I'm watching it, and it's about halfway up, and I'm thinking, that thing's going in. Like, and then I hear Chris just explode. And I look over, and I'm kind of looking down thinking the same thing. Is this real? Because, that was an officiating crew. They were older. They called the game a little bit different from what we're used to. So I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, and then I start going crazy. So, and then that's when, of course, Chris pulled me afterward. I'm getting ready to leave. He's like, hey, you want to interview Cole? Okay, yeah, I hadn't conducted an interview since semi-pro football, but yeah, why not? So it was a lot of fun, and Chris was so much fun, and always has been fun to work with.
You hit a three-quarter court shot to win the game for Ashland. This has to be a moment you're going to remember for the rest of your life. How do you feel?
I feel amazing. God answered my prayers, I guess. I was just a crazy guy. I don't know how it went.
Talk about how you felt. You guys trailed 51-41 midway through the fourth quarter. It looked like we were in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, we just knew we had to stay together as a team. That's what Coach made total. And it's just our faith and our togetherness. It will always win in these games.
And Cole, one more question. Did you know it was him when you released it?
I had a good feeling.
Nice. Yeah, you certainly played well tonight. You had every Ashland point from 28 to 44. Leading that comeback, and you came through big. And talk about your team some, because I know you have the faith part.
Yeah.
Certainly that plays a big role, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's before every game we pray, before we go up for warm-ups, right before the game, and then after the game. I just think that's what's brought us together the most. And I just think that's the biggest thing in our team is our faith. That's what carried us through everything.
Thank you so much. Nice shot. Ashland 27 wins for the first time tonight since 1996.
Games towards the end of the year, we started playing pretty bad. I don't really know what it was, but because we had beat Rowan at Rowan, we had beat GRC, Mason County at Mason County, won the AIT, Trinity. We had played some really good teams, and then we were playing some local teams that we were honestly better than, and we weren't playing to the caliber that we could, and a lot of them ended up really close games, and that kind of led us into the very end of the year.
But you guys are coming into senior night, and you're coming in, and this time, though, the coaching was a little different. And talk about that experience.
On senior night, we had Rose Hill at home, and Luke Mays led the charge for the troops that night, and that was awesome. That was really special because a lot of the times when you're thinking senior night, you're only thinking players. You're not thinking of managers, videographers, whoever. So just to be able to honor him in that role and all the work he put into the program, because he was there from day one. As long as we were there in the program, he was there in the program, paying his dues. Practices, weight room, at CrossFit, all that stuff. He was committed. His parents were committed to the program. So being able to see him do that, because he really does love the game and he loves coaching. So being able to see him suit up and do that was it was definitely something I'll never forget.
Yeah, talking about Luke, still to this day, he's at every practice, every open gym, every game, every lifting session, and one that speaks testaments to his parents, Paige and Fanny. It's just he is the heart of Ashland. If you could see over on this wall about 15 feet away from us, there's a picture of him in the center of it, and I think that is a very accurate image of this sports community because he's been here for 8 or 9 seasons now and been dedicated to all of them and a big part of all of them. So just giving him the respect that he deserves and the love that he deserves. they would all agree with this as well, that we would do anything for Luke because he would do anything for us. And he's just such a good person to be around and such a light in our worlds. It's like after a bad game, his mood doesn't change. Obviously, he'd get mad at us a lot. He is like a coach. He gets on to us, but he's someone who I've never had a bad day around, and I had never seen him have a bad day. And that's what I'm just so thankful that God has blessed us in this community with his light and his love. And I'm also glad that he's had a great supporting cast with his parents who's allowed him to do this, and great coaches and great athletic directors who have allowed him to be a part of so many seasons. So, yeah, Luke's just he's a man.
He was drawing plays that game, and plays were, I mean, they were wide open. I mean, it was crazy. Coach Mays was kind of hunkered down.
He was disappointed in it, didn't he?
Yeah, there was one play in that game. We have it photographed in time that I'll remember. I have it saved in my phone, I think, where I guess Mays had tried to take command, Coach Mays, and Coach Luke Mays at the time wasn't having it. He sent Coach Mays back to his seat and just said, "I got this." So Luke put him in a spot. But talking about senior night, I don't want to skip over Huddy's 8 threes in one half or one quarter.
Feed Huddy.
Yeah, that's what Luke's game plan was. We're going to get Huddy the ball, and it worked. We were running pin down screens, fade screens, flares for Huddy, and that's what I don't want to take credit away from Huddy, but it was all because of Luke. Yeah, if it was all because of Luke, those 30 points he had.
He will forever have an undefeated coaching record in the 16th region, by the way.
He only won. Yep. The only person.
Coach Mays can't say that.
Okay, I know, speaking on Luke, you guys have covered it before, but it was at halftime of, I think, a Russell game. And this was a few years after our season, like after the 20 season, maybe 2 years ago. And he hit a shot, and I think it was a buzzer beater. And he takes off sprinting, looking at our home fans, arms in the air. And that's how he, taking a more serious note, that's how he lives every day. It's like he's going to give it
concentrated and made the shot. Yeah. Mays now on a breakaway ahead of everybody. Oh, he wants to step out to the three-point line, Tyler.
Oh, man. Mays will try it.
Luke! Oh, that looks like a good one to end on, Tyler.
And after that shot, he sprinted down the court and was so proud. And he should know how proud we are of him on the court, off the court. But that's probably the one Luke memory that stands out to me, is that shot that he hit, because he was on top of the world and for those few seconds. And I think that he should always be on top of the world. That's how everyone should view him, because he is unlike anyone I've ever met, with the light that he shines on others and the joy that he brings to this place.
Really going to all the Challenger games that we went to and we'd help out with, and seeing him play in those Challenger games, and the amount of what's the word? I mean, yeah, the amount of heart and the amount of just energy he had in those games. I mean, it really showed just kind of who he was, kind of like how Cole says. I mean, he pours everything into everything he does, and he's not one to not put you in your place too. I mean, he will tell you how he feels about stuff. Yeah, get the ball is gigaball is something he would always say, and just seeing him in those Challenger games, it was always a joy to wake up and real early on a weekend and go to those Challenger games and watch him play, and be there, support him like he supports us every day, and all the practices and everything. I mean, it meant the world to all of us to be able to do the same for him.
Yeah, and I'll throw my little perspective in on that shot as well. After because that's what, thanks to him, Chris and I had blown out voices again, kind of like a time. And yeah, actually, last year when I took the West Virginia State job, and I knew I couldn't do my town, I posted that as my favorite moment with my town on Facebook. But to add to that, from seeing it, the memory here is going out into the lobby afterward. and Luke was running around. I mean, he was going crazy. Like, he's got a fight. He's like, look at this. Like, he's showing everybody, like, the clutch shot he hit. And, I mean, that was just so rewarding to see with everything. So you're going into the regional semifinals. I mean, Russell, you survived a second half attack up 20 when you played at Russell and won that game 51-46. You beat them in the first round 61-41. Then the second round comes, the rematch with Rowan, and there was a player that broke out in that game, a player that will forever be known in Ashland history. You guys it just seemed like clicking that Rowan County game. It was a little bit early, but it wasn't expected to be a 67-39.
Yeah, so going into that game, obviously we had the game at Rowan County, and it was a really close game. We might have won by like 5. It came down to the wire, but we didn't really, at least they didn't have a good look at us because we were missing Justin. So it probably worked in our advantage a little bit because we didn't have one of our best players. And going into that game, it's like, obviously you're nervous for every win-or-go-home game, but that one, it's like, they have the second best team in the region, I thought, and it's like we're gonna have to play good. It's kind of their home court, even though it's at Moorhead. So we're thinking like we're gonna have to play a really good ball game here, and we were playing really good, but we started playing even better when Hunter Gillum came in. And I could go on and on about Hunter. You can look at him on the football field. He's one of the best players that state championship year, the following season, and then everyone knows leading into that his senior year about Rupp Arena and stuff. But he came into that game and he's always kind of messing with people, never really taking anything too serious, which would get on my nerves sometimes. But I just had to take a step back and be like, this is him at his best. Like, you can't get really mad at him.
It's always been like, how can I get a laugh here? How can I get a laugh here? And on the court, or on the field, it goes straight into that. So like when I sense someone getting mad, I'm like, this is an opposing guy. I'm just going to make him more mad because that's going to help, because nobody really likes to play mad. It's like in a fight. It's like the person that's more mad usually going to lose because they're not thinking straight. So like in a basketball game, if he's super mad, he's going to dribble it off his foot, and then you tell him he dribbled off his foot, he can't really dribble, he's going to get more mad, he's going to do it again. And that's just the attitude I have. So when I'm out on the court, it's not that I don't take anything serious, it's just when I'm not serious, that's when I play the best. And I've told that to so many people. Cole Villers even said it in an interview. He said when Hunter's not serious, that's when he plays the best. And so on the court, everything goes over my head. So like if I dribbled off my foot and you say something about it, I'm going to sit there and laugh and tell you I'll do it again. But when I say it to you, you're going to sit there and get mad and then do it again and get madder. So any little thing the opponent does, I'm trying to capitalize off of. And that also makes momentum for me and my team.
There was a player in Rowan County, and Hunter just would not let up on him, just pulling his shorts down, untucking his jersey. And, man, I was almost like, Hunter, you're taking it too far. Because we were up by like 15 at this point. Like, the game's not over, but, like, we have it kind of in the bag. And he's just going at this kid. And I can't remember what he did. Connor and I remember made, like, a behind-the-back pass or something, but Hunter's just trolling the whole time. And that 8-minute quarter of Hunter Gillum is the perfect representation of who Hunter Gillum is. You can just watch one quarter of that game, and you know who Hunter is. And 1, that's a winner. 2, that's a great teammate. But it's also someone who will get under your skin if you let him. So if he would have been on any other team that we would have played against, I would have hated him. I would not have liked Hunter. But since he was on my team every year, I love Hunter more than anyone. He's the best kid to be around, one of my best friends. So I don't have enough good to say about him.
Hunter's he's a walking spark plug, if anything. You know, we always brought the energy, but on the rare occasion that we didn't come with the energy or our best attitude, you could throw Hunter Gillum out there and, like you said, playing harder than anybody else out there every single time. So a lot of our energy, especially when we check him in later in the games, could be attributed to him just coming in and doing his thing.
And the regional final, you're coming in against Lewis County. Not the same Lewis County team you beat in the first game. Lewis County, coached by Joe Hampton, nicknamed Mr. March for the reason that's when his teams have peaked. He had another appearance, and unfortunately in 2009 also encountered a juggernaut with Elliott County's Final Four team. but you came in and you knew that team was going to be much improved. And what was the mentality? Because you guys started off, and to quote Bill Farley, a coach that I know in volleyball, he said, come out of the gate, start off, and don't look back.
Yeah, we had a lot of momentum, so I don't want to say I wasn't nervous for that game, because you're nervous for every championship game, whether that's AIT, just a random shootout during the middle of the season. But I don't know what it was. I was very confident going into that game, but I also knew they had one of the best players in the region, Sam O'Keefe. And I think he had maybe had 30 the night before against Boyd County. He had played really well.
Like 16 rebounds.
Yeah, he had like a 30-point, 16-rebound game. And I was like, okay, like, we're going to have to stop him. Because if we can stop him, it's like we have a really good chance to win this game. And our best defender that year, Justin, we threw Justin on. We're like, this is your job. Sorry. He'd get a lot of those matchups that year, so he was probably prepared for it. But he guarded him, and I don't know if he scored the first. They had 2 points, and I think Justin might have gotten subbed out with like a minute left in that quarter, and he actually ended up scoring on me, so I apologize for that. Justin held him scoreless, and he scored on me, but yeah, we started red hot like you had said, and we didn't look back. We knew once we kind of got going, there was no team in the state, I don't think, that could really put an end to it. We were our own worst enemy. Like, if we weren't hitting shots, it's like, but we were living by the three that game. And all that year, obviously, we were living by the three. But it was just it's always good to get up early in big games because you get to enjoy it. Like, you could look at even the Boyd freshman year, sophomore year, obviously that was the Lewis County game, but then my junior year, you can't enjoy them sometimes. You don't have a time to like kind of step back and be like, this is where we are and we've accomplished this. During that game, the second half, we all got subbed out because we were trying not to get hurt going into state, which didn't end up happening. But we could really kind of sit back and laugh and kind of remember kind of the season we had and enjoy a lot of that time together.
So now the regional tournament ends, and there's a virus going around, and I remember Dickie Martin and I are going back, and Dickie's telling me they're going to have this state tournament. They better. And I'm thinking, okay, we'll probably have it. I'm thinking not too big of a deal. But all that's kind of coming into play. But in between the region and the uncertainty around the state tournament, you guys get a visit from somebody.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how it came about and who contacted who, but Pat Ford, who's a legendary sports writer and was writing for Sports Illustrated at the time, came in and did a feature piece on our team, which I think I can speak for everyone, whether or not you were there for it. Just being written about in Sports Illustrated is something that you dream about as a kid. You grow up reading those magazines. You grow up, looking up to the athletes that are in there. So just having something written about you in there and seeing something that you represent this culture, you represent this community, that was really special, and that's a moment from that year that I will really cherish forever.
Yeah, I remember Coach Mays calling me, and he was like breaking the news to me, but it was good news. He was like, we're going to be in Sports Illustrated. I was like, shut up, because sometimes he'd pull your leg and he'd say stuff, and I was like, be quiet. And he obviously wasn't joking. We showed up one day, and then you were in there, and was Colin, or was it? It was, I think it was us, me, him, and Colin. Yep. And Pat Ford walks in. And I'm like, I still couldn't really believe it. I was like, because I obviously know him from all the Sports Illustrated and just different articles. And I'm like, this is real. And that's what, if you would have told our team at the beginning of the year that we would have a play on Sports Center Top 10 and then be in Sports Illustrated, again, I would have told you, shut up. Like, no way. There's no way this is happening. But no, just like the places that God took this team and the platform that he gave us is something that we'll forever be grateful for. And that still lives on to this day, obviously, especially with my town, like you guys doing these interviews and still covering this area. We're grateful for you guys as well as everyone else who supported us along the way.
And you guys are, obviously the excitement from Sports Illustrated coming in. then you find out because I think it was the NCAA's first, if I remember right, and it just trickled down from there. But of course, scared understandably about the virus, and talk about that and just the uncertainty and the impact, and not just from the sports perspective, but from your school lives as well.
So the first mention of it was in the locker room. We had gotten back, and Coach was talking about the weightlifting schedule for the next week, since it was like a week and a half later that we were going to play in the state tournament. So he was going to have us in CrossFit, still working out and staying fit, I guess. So I was honestly dreading that. I was like, Coach, it's the state tournament. Why are we still lifting? I don't want to lift. But so then we went home, and he mentioned there might be like a delay. There's some uncertainties going on, but I didn't think anything of it. I don't think they did. Then we got back to school the next day, right? And is that when he told us that? So I guess Swift came in and told us, and I don't know, it kind of sank in like it might not happen. It's real. We really might not have this thing. We might not get to compete along with the other teams that made it. They might not get their chance. And it just, I don't know, hit like a truck, I guess.
I remember that day pretty clearly. I mean, because going into school that day, it was a pretty big talk, you know, like if they were actually going to have the state tournament, and if, you know, our season was going to continue, and having all these different reports come in, and checking my phone always, seeing what was going on, and them coming out and saying that they were going to play the tournament, but you were only allowed to bring in so many people to the tournament. And, you know, at that point, you put a limit on tickets, and you give each player an amount of tickets. And, you know, for me, I had a pretty big family that would follow me and watch all my games, even if I wasn't playing, because I mean all the people I played with growing up were like family, and they treated them like they were their own grandkids. And trying to sit and think, it was really hard to sit and think of who I would try and pick for those tickets, you know, because it's almost an impossible task. But given the end result, I mean, I would much rather have to tell somebody, hey, I'm sorry, you can't make the game, versus, you know, nothing even unfolding or being able to play those games. But I remember very clearly in sixth period, having somebody sit there in sixth period and tell me that the tournament had been canceled. And I just asked to be dismissed from that class. Like, I went down to the locker room, and there was already people in the lobby that were wanting to interview people, and it was just mind-blowing to me, sitting there waiting for seventh period to start so they could announce it to everybody. I don't know if you guys had any experiences like that, but...
Yeah, I don't want to... I remember a lot of the stuff vividly, like he did, like hearing like maybe a limit on tickets, maybe no one at all, maybe just teams, and it's like... Whatever we have to do to play this game, I would have rather it happened. But it was going to be hard because they were saying like 2 tickets at one point. And I was like, my parents and my 2 brothers, like they've been to every game. It's like, I can't choose. And then I was like, I don't really care about that. I just want to play. But then I remember they set us down in 7th period basketball class. And we kind of all knew what was going to happen. But I still think we were all kind of in denial. And I don't want to throw Justin under the bus, but I think this is kind of a testament to just how much he cared about the team and the program. Whenever they told us, I don't know if you remember, I remember you started crying. I think I might have too. Yeah, in the locker room.
I did in tears.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I probably cried too. It was just we cared so much. But to not get that opportunity to kind of, because we still had a lot of doubters around the state. They're like, oh, you don't play any competition, which if you look at our record wasn't true. They're like, you guys are a small team from eastern Kentucky. If you take a step back, look at Lyon County, they're a small team from where they're at and still won it. So I think there were a lot of people who didn't give us the credit or respect that we deserved, and it was going to be a chance for us to kind of show them what we were about, and I have no doubt that would have happened. Yeah, and that's what the people who had kind of doubted us, I don't think they really looked into us as a team. They just saw we were a bunch of 6'0" kids who didn't look anything. But if you look deeper into it, we had beaten 2 teams that had made the state tournament. Rowan County would beat a lot of teams across the state. the GRC teams, the Mason counties, the Butlers, the Warren Centrals, the Trinity, who had won it the year prior. It's like it's not really an excuse for why we went undefeated. I just think God blessed us with a really good year, and I don't think people were ready to give us the credit that we deserved. But no, it was definitely a tough task, and like he said, with all the people in the lobby, like ready to interview you, it almost felt like a movie where it's like you're in a fog, and it's like there are just cameras being shoved in your face and microphones, and you're like, we're like high school kids. It's like, what is this about?
I had a Spanish class.
Yeah, it's like I just got done with algebra. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I remember walking down the stairs to go to our locker room because we had our campus and everything. I remember walking down the stairs to go to our locker room and seeing all those guys down there, and the door was locked, so I couldn't get in the locker room. So I was just kind of sitting. I walked out into the lobby, see all those guys out there, and I ended up getting interviewed by one of the guys, and I didn't really know to say no because it's just not I didn't really want to say no, but I remember getting in the locker room and Coach Mays telling us not to get interviewed by any of those guys, and I was like, man, I felt like going to how do you say no? Yeah,
they're like trying to get you to say something.
But I just remember going back in that locker room, and I dreaded calling my grandparents because they followed me to every game. And I dreaded calling them whenever I found out at lunch that I couldn't get them tickets because my parents would have to go, or I'd have to make a decision on who would have to go. And I just remember calling my grandmother, and I just broke down in tears because it's hard to say that everything that we had worked for just got kind of thrown down the drain. Talking about how Justin had cried and everything. I mean, it's everybody was emotional. I mean, I was in tears over that stuff, but. It's just, it is what it is. I mean, we'll go down 33-0. You can't really take that away from us. But going into that tournament, looking at the draw that we had some tough teams out front. I think we drew E-Town the first game, and they were another team that was considered, one of the best teams in the state. And we had Warren Central on the other side of them. If we won that game, we played the winner of Warren Central. But we had a really good draw past those two games, and we really could have showed what we were made of and what kind of team we were.
Last thing I remember about kind of that whole thing unfolding is my brother Christian, because we were all still in denial. Like, there's no way they don't play the Kentucky State tournament, because like outside of the NBA championship and March Madness, it's like Kentucky basketball. Like the Sweet 16 is like, it's like everyone loves it, everyone knows it, and he was like, what are you doing now? And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, they're gonna play this thing. He was like, so I was working out probably the hardest I had after that season, because I was like, in 2 weeks they're gonna be like, it's back on and we're playing it. And I was like, I'm not gonna be the one not ready. Like, these other teams probably aren't doing anything. So we were getting together playing like pickup, just making sure we were still good. But it just showed how desperate we kind of were, and how, at least me, I was in such denial that it had got kind of taken. Yeah. It still is weird to talk about, like, that specific season. Like, any other year we could have gone undefeated. COVID obviously couldn't have happened. Like, it's just weird how it all unfolded, but we still are grateful for the season that we had and very blessed. So we're not going to take away the success that we had or the blessings that were thrown our way, but it is disappointing and sad how it all went down, but you can't take away the memories and the wins that we had. Just maybe that's left unknown, and maybe it's better that way. Maybe more stories will be written about it. It's just a more entertaining story sometimes.
Yeah, and looking at how you've impacted people individually, and I look at myself with this team, because I don't want to talk about myself much here, but I mean, I think you guys had a tremendous impact there. I mean, after losing my father January 9th of 19, that was the latest in a sequence of events, being laid off, losing a cat that I was attached to, and that just like did it. And in 2019, I'm not my usual perky, getting out, getting involved in organizations. I'm just kind of going to work, going home, maybe getting dinner with a friend. I thought that year, I need to get back involved in sports. I was looking to get perked up again. And then Dickie had advised me in announcing in semi-pro football. I just asked him, I said, would there be anything available? And I talked a little bit to Chris with my town before starting that year, just because I enjoyed listening to him. And then that year, he puts me on the girls' game between Ashland and Russell with him, which I was just floored when he decided to put me on for that. And then, and all of a sudden it's like, now I've got to do it. Then that same night, Chris approached me, Chris and Mike, hey, we want to come on Cross Section this week, which was Chris's show at the time. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we've got an interview this week, we've got a game this week, and all of a sudden it's just picking up. And then, Dickie, he's like, hey, you're going to be calling regionals with me. Okay, sweet. I'll never forget that at the end of the Lewis County game, and he's like, here, I want you to make the call. I'm going to go interview some players. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, Ashland has won it for back-to-back years. I'm like, my usual over the top, but for me, that was how the impact you had, and you pulled me out of a depression, and there's many other stories though as to what you guys did. And Justin, I'll start with you. Going to each one, what do you want your legacy to be, and how do you feel like your impact was felt?
It's hard to not sound arrogant, but still talk good about yourself. I think I could say this for all of us. Everyone on that team and on the teams that I've been on treated others, other students, other players, we all treated others the right way. So I think that's what should be known the most. As far as a player goes, I think I was very selfless. I only cared that we won. I didn't care how we won. I didn't care if I scored or not. I didn't care if I even played, really, just as long as we won. So I think that's what I would want myself to be remembered by. But as far as the team goes, I want people to know that we did things the right way, I'd say. We cared about others, which Coach Mays emphasized. He wanted us to be a positive effect in the community, be a positive effect in school, and just do things the right way, really.
Yeah, just building on that, we were a team that emphasized culture, and the 3 C's were confidence, composure, and class. And, like you said, we were just a team of kids from Eastern Kentucky who wanted to play basketball the right way. We were undersized, and we weren't particularly talented, but we just wanted to go out there and do what we could do. And then beyond that, just to be ingrained in a culture like Ashland sports culture. I mean, it's a small town. It's like a movie. You're in a small town with a great sports history, and it means something to people here, especially around that time. I know that's when AK Steel was doing a lot of layoffs. Marathon was having some struggles, different places. So just being remembered as a team that was kind of a light in the darkness that has come over this area in recent times is really important to me. And I think I speak for everybody when we say, 20, 50, 100 years from now, if none of our individual names are remembered, we don't care. But, we want this team, and we hope that this team will always be remembered as a unit.
Yeah, kind of going off what they were saying. If you look at, I hope people would say this about me, but I can definitely say it about the 3 guys sitting next to me and everyone else on those teams, coaches, everyone included. Just a very selfless group. Because you look at, they could have been at any other school in the area having a bigger role, and whatever that meant, a bigger role, and sacrifice. They all sacrificed for one common goal, and that was to win, and we succeeded in that. And then just speaking personally, I would just love to be known as a child of God who did everything that he could to further the kingdom, on the court, off the court. I used my platform for good and not for evil, and the words that were given to me from God were used in that way. And that's what I accomplished, what this team accomplished, was nothing from personal success or personal gain. It was all given to us by our Father in heaven, and I just hope that people can realize that. And like you said, bringing you out of depression, I've heard in other stories, and I think God used this team in a special way that hasn't really happened in a while around this area. So I'm forever grateful for my town, like I said, for these guys sitting next to me, the rest of the guys on the team, the coaches, the training staff, Jer, Luke Mays, but just definitely God for giving us this game, giving us the skills, the abilities, the athleticism that we had, and then also giving us a country where we can share this faith freely and we don't have to worry or second guess what we say. So I'm so thankful and so blessed from God for everything that we have.
Yeah, just adding on to that, I mean, it's tough to add on to that because, I mean, you touched just about every single note. I mean, our team was a whole lot more than just a basketball team. I mean, growing up playing with each other, I mean, we knew each other through and through. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, we spent so much time, helping with the community. I mean, going to what was the Thanksgiving?
We go to the community shelter.
We would go to the community center and serve Thanksgiving. Serve Thanksgiving meals on that day. I mean, we did everything that we possibly could, and it wasn't a have to. I mean, everybody wanted to do that stuff, and we spent a lot of times going over to Coach Mays' house for Bible studies. I mean, that whole team. I mean, if we go down for anything, I mean, we were a whole lot more than just a basketball team that went 33-0. I mean, everybody on that team was very selfless, just like everybody else on this. All three of us have said. I mean, like I didn't care. I didn't play a ton of minutes every single game, but as long as we won the games that we won, and I got to get in and make an impact, or block a shot or rebound or throw an outlet pass or get one of these guys the ball, I mean that's all that mattered to me. I mean, because whatever we had to do to win games and whatever we had to do on the court, I mean, or off the court, I mean, we Coach Mays instilled a lot of that into us, and that's who we are as people. We are a really caring group, I'd say. I mean, all the guys that I graduated with, all the guys I play with on that team, we still have group chats and stuff. And I mean, we don't talk all the time like we used to, but those are the best group of guys that I've known. And I mean, there's honestly no group better than that. I mean, everybody in that group is just a phenomenal group of people.
Beautifully said. And the final question, I'm used to closing my interviews with shout-outs, and, of course, we're going to continue that, and we'll go person to person again and shout-outs. Tell everybody what you're doing today.
For one, I haven't talked about him. I don't think any of us have, but Coach Conway, that's one of my favorite coaches ever. He's almost like a father figure to me. That's probably who I'd shout out. Obviously, all the upperclassmen that I played with, Hunter Mays, Devontae, Ryan Bryant, all of them, shout them out. They taught us a lot. And then our parents, obviously, who are one's left. I don't know where all the others went, but they've been there for us and are still here with us for all of our lives now. So shout out to them. My goal is to own a business. How about that?
First off, Cole touched on it already, but I feel like I've got to thank God in all this. So, he's done a lot to guide my life, and you look at the opportunities that we had as a group, you look at the opportunities that I've had as a person, and these things don't just happen. They're not just there by themselves. So I want to thank God for setting up a lot of this success. Shout out to my parents, obviously, and my extended family. I've always had a great support system, and I've been very fortunate to never have to worry about, could I get to games, could I get to practices, can I go to this AAU tournament. They always took care of that, and, they made a lot of sacrifices to get me there. They took off their weekends that they could have spent doing whatever they wanted to do, and they would drive to Lexington or to Louisville or to Indiana to watch us play and to help set me up for the future. As far as today, I'm enrolled in graduate school at the University of Cumberland, doing a degree in Justice Administration, and I'm planning to, in the next couple of years, join some sort of police force and work in that capacity.
So I would definitely like to shout out, we've all said it, but my parents, and my brothers obviously as well, an extended family, but my parents have instilled just a character in us that I'll be forever grateful for, and it was built on love. A lot of kids don't grow up showing a lot of love or attention, and my parents did a wonderful job of loving us like Christ loves us, and I think that's a kind of, you can see that through me and my brothers. I hope people would say that objective, but that we're good people and we care about others and that we love others. So I would just like to, off the court, shout out them, because they've done more than I could ever ask, my mom and my dad. And I am currently finishing up school at Marshall, and I'll graduate in December, and I'm actually going to go work with my parents and my brother at Morgan Stanley in Huntington. Starting in January, I'll start studying for all my exams. And, well, I forgot, I'm actually helping coach the Ashland team this year. And I'm there with Coach Bonner, obviously, and I love that. The team's great. We're going to have a great year. Just very blessed to have this opportunity to have my hand back in the program in some capacity. And I'm just praying that God gives us a successful season by his measures, which isn't always wins and losses. But I pray that he allows me the opportunity to speak. He can speak through me to some of these kids. And, yeah, I'll just start working in January, and I'm excited for that.
I'd like to shout out, like my family, my direct family. I mean, really all throughout my family. I mean, I had family members follow me to games ever since I was, since I started sports. It seemed like every sporting event that I ever attended or ever practiced in or played in, I mean, every single one of them was right there with me and supporting me like no other. And, it didn't matter if we played 6 hours. It didn't matter if we played across the country. I knew that they would follow me there, and I knew that they would be right in the stands, supporting me. And I'd have to, my dad, he pushed me throughout everything. I mean, if there's somebody who helped me so much in basketball, it's him. I mean, he just... everything that I did, after every game, I could expect constructive criticism from him. And it wasn't always, the good things that I did in games. It was, he would always touch on the bad things, but he was always, real quick to tell me what I did good. But, it's just, and same thing with like my mom. I mean, my mom, every single thing that I did, I mean, she was right there with, taking pictures. I mean, she took pictures for the entire team and spent, a lot of people didn't see it, but she spent hours and hours and hours editing these pictures just so everybody else in the community could see these pictures and follow these pictures. And it's not like she just did this for our senior year. I mean, you can go back and look at albums upon albums of just every single game, JV games, freshman games. She poured fourth grade. I mean, she did it all. I mean, people just don't see that stuff, and it's just to have two parents that are that passionate about something and rally behind stuff like that. It's just unbelievable. I mean, they do everything, more than what you could even imagine or think of. They are there rooting for you. And as of what I'm doing right now, and also my grandparents, I could not forget about them. I mean, my grandparents, I'm so fortunate just to have multiple people in my family just follow me for stuff like that. But my grandparents are some of the most supportive people that I couldn't thank them enough. But as what I'm doing now, I mean, I graduated from ACTC with a technical degree. I went in to applied process technologies degree, and I worked at a couple different refineries and traveled around and finally settled down in a plant in Barbersville. And that's where I've stayed for the last 2 years, and I love it, and it's everything that I could ask for. And I actually just bought my first house, and in the process of remodeling everything, and it's been a time, but that's about where I'm at right now. But going back on thanking everybody, I mean, all this stuff has played a huge role into how everybody on our team has turned out as, and it just couldn't. It speaks volumes for what kind of families we have, and it goes way past us and beyond us to who we really are as people. Because all you have to do is go in to talk to each one of our parents or each one of our family members, anybody. I mean, you just go and talking to them. I mean, you'll realize, where a lot of the values that we have come from, and who we really are as people.
Nicely said, guys. This team will be remembered forever. You have the 1928 Tomcats, the 1961 Tomcats, some of the great all-time teams, and this one right up there with them. And we want to say thank you all for tuning in to this special edition of the Player Spotlight. I'm Tyler Rowland, and be sure to check out more of my videos and many of them Ashland interviews. And, of course, we're getting ready to start the season, so also be sure to tune in on My Town TV. Might see Cole on the sidelines again, and catch out the Ashland Tomcats. But thank you for watching. God bless you, and see you soon.
He will. Sellers. Back to Villers. Villers top of the key. Up. Splash! Cole Villers. Deep. Top of the key. Porter drives. Kicks out to Villers. Pull and kick. Got it!
That's it.
Cole Villers. Nolan Phillips. Nolan Phillips. Excellent defense on Dre Boyd. Maybe that's the matchup Ashland's been looking for.
And I guarantee everybody on the Ashland bench knows he's got 3.
Porter penetrates deep to Bradley.
Wow.
Good offense, easy bucket for Ashland. That's when Ashland is really in their zone, when they can create easy buckets like that off the dribble drive. Ashland ball, turnover, Warren Central.
Well, if you don't, somebody's
he is definitely
needs their eyes checked.
Villers on the drive, nice take, left hand.
Doubt.
Porter drives, shoots, floater, up and in. Yep. Porter walks it up, Lawrence on him. Nashimwe goes to the table to check in. Out to Sellers up top. Sellers drives, nothing there. Tries to come back to the middle. Sellers.
What the heck was that? Are you kidding me?
Strong. Boyd on the bench to start the fourth quarter.
Look at this.
Wide open inside.
What in the world? Okay.
That's what.
Good assist, Justin.
Porter finds Bradley. Guarded closely by Floyd. Porter going to work, drives middle, kicks to the outside. Hudson open in the corner. Get it!
He was good.
Ethan Hudson from the corner. A well-timed 3-ball, his first of the night. 2-point game, Ashland ahead with just under 3 minutes to go. We've got a dandy here at James A. Anderson Gymnasium, Brian.
Yes, we do. We've got some great players in this game, too. You just saw one right there score.
Sellers drives hard, finishes with contact, no call, but still extends Ashland's lead out to 4.
Boy, Bradley was wanting the ball a minute ago. Let's see what happens.
Colin Porter gets bumped, kicks to the corner. Ethan Hudson from 3.
That's right.
Ashland 54. Warren Central 51. Back
nice
to Gillum.
job defensively.
Gillum against Webb. Gillum
Well,
strong to the basket.
He just put his head down and drove to the basket.
Hunter
nice
Gillum.
job.
Villers drives left on Stewart. No good. Gets his own. No good. Villers fights to keep it alive. Porter to Bradley. Bradley got it. Newsom keeps his dribble alive. Spins back to the middle. Jumper up. No good. Rebound. Porter. Porter looks to push in transition. Oh, crosses up Webb. Bradley, 3, got it in the corner. Webb
It's an 8-0
tries to drive on Sellers, loses it. Gillum out in front of everyone. Cisco could not slow him down. Gillum on the layup for his 6th point of the game. Stewart, Bradley on him, decides to kick to Walter. Gibbs trying to post up. Gibbs going to work on Villers. Villers with the block.
Gillum's going to go all the way again.
Gillum for number 10.
No call. There's a left elbow 3. It's no good. Rebound That time by Hunter Gilliam coming off the bench. Good minutes. There's a three-pointer on the right elbow. It's good by Ethan Hudson. He has 6 points. Points 4 and 5 now. 33-32 with the basketball. Dribble drive pass up top, and getting the extra bounce is going to be Justin Bradley. Out comes Porter. It's a 1-on-2 fast break. Porter puts up the shot. It's good. He put that through 3 defenders. Going against the grain that time. Lead back up to 3 now for the Tomcats, 38-35. 3 personal fouls. There's a 3 out of the corner. Bingo by Justin Bradley. Bradley with 3 threes. Give him 14 points in the game. Backdoor pass, couple dribble, shot good, and a foul. Ryan Atkins snuck in backdoor. His first bucket gives his team a 3-point lead. Fouls on DeMaje Clark. That's his first foul. Gets it over now to Porter. Shot no good. Rebound Ryan Atkins. Ryan Atkins is doing his job off the bench. He has 7 points in the quarter. Break the press. Porter shot good with the
It's a tough night for both of them.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an emotion. Senior night's always an emotional night. It takes on a little bit more meaning. That relationship is, I'm sure, is so meaningful.
The corner, Bradley. Porter, middle, skip pass, Hudson,
Nice pass to
3,
Hudson.
wing, got it. The senior, Ethan Hudson. Thought about the 3, decided not to go. Porter on the drive. Hudson, corner, 3, got it. Ethan Hudson.
2 for 3 for Hudson from 3 early.
Barker out ahead of the pack, stopped by Gillum. Bradley. Porter. Bradley, corner, 3. No good. Rebound, Phillips, second rebound of the game. Hudson, 3, top of the key. Got it! Ethan Hudson, the senior, 3 of 4 from 3. As Gillum brings it up for Ashland. Gives way to Porter. Hudson, 3, wing. Got it! Ethan Hudson. 4th on 3 of the game, hotter than a $2 pistol. Bradley. Porter. Phillips.
Got to go to Hudson again.
3, wing. Got it! Wow. Ethan Hudson.
5 out of 6.
5 out of 6 from 3. Ashland's lead 15-2. Hudson, 3,
Again.
corner. Got it. Ethan Hudson, 6th three-pointer of the game, 6 of 7 from 3. Everybody 1-on-2 break. Porter holds it up, gets fouled, no call. Hudson, top of the key, decides not to pull it. I think everybody in the gym wanted him to. Porter, Hudson, wide open, left wing, 3. Got it. Ethan Hudson, 7th three-pointer.
I think he got pushed by Coleman.
Hudson, 3. Got it. I've lost count, Mike. How many is that?
8. He's 8 for 11 on the night.
Going to be Tim Beeson. Looks like it's his birthday today, Tim. If you're listening, happy birthday.
Tim. Hudson, 3.
Got it. Ethan Hudson opens the second just like he closed the first.
I'm out of 3s on my score sheet. I'm going to have to write some more in.
Is that 7 or 8, Mike?
That is 9.
That's 9 three-pointers for Ethan Hudson. 2.
Actually, it's Ethan Hudson's lead. Ethan Hudson is up 15-2.
Nice challenge there from Nolan Phillips in transition on the shot. No good. Rebound, man of the hour, Ethan Hudson, as he pushes up in transition. All the way to the bucket. Kicks out to
Hudson's
Phillips.
going to come back over on the wing, I bet.
They might want to extend out on it. Justin Bradley, nice cut. Terrific look by Colin Porter. Wilburn blocked by the senior Nolan Phillips, his second block of the game. Nolan is tall, but he's also incredibly long. Look at those arms on him. I mean, he challenges shots inside, contribute in a big way. Gillum
I think it's interesting with Gillum here. Porter's been running inside that.
Ball player.
Yeah, exactly.
For you young folks out there watching.
Was a really good basketball
Ashby,
player.
3. Got it.
Well, that's a nice-looking shot.
Yeah.
We'll be there. We'll be bringing you some great analysis from the district and the region tournaments.
Porter, nice drive.
Hudson. I like Hudson a lot. He's a
Tough
heck of a
kid,
player.
smart kid. One of those glue guys, you know. Villers, up and in. Bradley in transition. Off to Phillips.
How do you
Got
like
it.
that?
Maynard pushing. Nice hands, Villers. Another breakout for Ashland. 2-on-1. Villers, got it.
My goodness.
Timeout, Lawrence County. I know that Coach Mays had his kids training at the local CrossFit Countdown gym all summer.
Right. I love that.
And it certainly paid off. Porter, beautiful little jumper. So when your star is also your most unselfish player, you've got a special team.
Oh, what a pass from Bradley.
Atkins gets a breather. Villers on the drive. Kick to the corner. Phillips. Got it. Ashland's 12th three-pointer of the night. Villers with a rebound. Immediately pushes up the left side. Kick to Porter on the drive. Finger roll.
They are absolutely. It's like watching the passing's amazing. That boy, man, he's quick.
You know, he's a smart player. He threw that jab right in between the feet of his defender until he got him off balance. It plays a lot bigger, Brian.
He looks taller from up here. He does.
Yeah.
He sure does. Got them long arms.
Hudson from the corner up. Got it! Ethan Hudson. Porter working
Coach
on
Mays
Lamb.
into it.
Bradley in the corner. Villers up top. Villers. No good.
Oh, man.
Bradley saves it to Hudson. Hudson up and in! Ashland Tomcats take a 2-point lead here early in the third quarter. Porter refuses the screen. Bradley skip past to Villers. Villers drives. Villers scoops it up and in somehow.
What just
hits
happened?
the bottom of the rim, but somehow rolls it in, Brian.
Amazing.
No good. Rebound, Hudson. Westbrook all over it.
Yeah, kid loves the foul.
Colin Porter out of control. Saves it to Sellers. Sellers, we need to settle this offense here. Villers kicks to the corner.
Shoot.
Villers drives. Up and in.
I have never seen a team so unselfish in my life. Get out of here.
Ashland storms out of the locker room to take the lead, 32-26.
Wow.
With 4 minutes, 10 seconds to go in the third.
Good pass.
Porter pushing all the way to the rim. Hudson. Boom! Ethan Hudson with a deep three in transition. Point game. Bradley breaks the press. Sellers. Hudson. Sellers. Porter. Villers. And Porter resets. Looks to drive. Nothing there. One more to Villers. Wide open on the wing. Got it!
I can't imagine them not trying to keep going to him.
Bradley in the corner. Got it!
That's what they do. That's what they
Justin
do.
Bradley stretches the lead out to 10. Surveys. Finds Villers. Porter. Not falling for that trap. Sellers.
Well, they
kicks to
respect him.
Villers. Bradley in the corner. Bang! Justin Bradley, unstoppable tonight.
You know, Ashland played good defense right there. Just kind of a tip ball, and look what I found.
This is when you want to see Ashland get some buckets going to the rim. Bradley, top of the key.
Feeling it. Feeling it.
Just
feeling
find
it.
Justin Bradley at the three-point line. Last time Ashland won the AIT was in 2017 when they beat Boyd County in double overtime, 83-80. And now your Ashland Tomcats are the 65th annual Ashland Invitational Tournament champions.
It goes to the champion of the 65th annual
There you go. Coach Jason Mays and his Ashland Tomcats lifting the 65th annual Ashland Invitational Tournament Champions Trophy.
I gotta get a picture. I'm gonna get a picture. I'm like a kid.
Look at Justin Bradley down there just cheesing for the camera. Just wait.
I love that boy.
There he is. Look at that big cheese.
It goes to the most valuable player of this year's tournament.
picks up the Dr. Lauren Ledford Most Valuable Player Award, and the crowd rises to honor the young man. Hudson looking for cutters. Nothing there. Sellers. Got it.
Wow.
Ethan Sellers. Go here in the second quarter. Gillum drives, kicks to Sellers. Corner. Got it.
Wow.
Ethan Sellers. Again, 2 in a row.
Ashland trading around county threes for twos right now. I'll take it. Lead up to 9.
Hudson. Sellers. 3.
He's throwing it. Who is this?
Ethan Sellers.
It's
3 threes in a row.
Wow, he's turned the second quarter into a seller's market. I'm telling you, man. It's okay.
Cox drives to the hoop.
How do you get up?
Nolan Phillips with the goaltend.
That was an awful call.
Rebound, Davidson. We're going the other way.
Again, Ashland missing shots they usually make. You got to convert
Davidson.
those.
Blocked by Phillips. Davidson. Blocked by Phillips. Rebound, Phillips. Great possession defensively for Nolan Phillips, standing up tall for the Ashland Tomcats. With their 24th win in a row, the #1 team in the state, Ashland Tomcats, defeats the Rowan County Vikings on the road 68-62.
Next, to the champion of the 16th region, back to back, heading to Arena, the Tomcat of Ashland Tomcats.